reminding you this Halloween, the only hocus pocus worth a damn is by the band Focus. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. The church are going to mandate you get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you. Right, Gina Grad? Oh, Mike's
right.
not hot.
That's
there
right.
we go. And Bob Bryan.
Somebody has to say something, and that somebody is me.
That's right. There's kids. They're in cages. Then somebody's got to speak up because this is not okay.
Your time has come.
Yeah.
It's not okay. And neither is what's going on in Ukraine. And no child should ever go to bed hungry. And everyone's entitled to a first-class education. And this homelessness, this unhoused, it's got to end. I'm on record.
These are very third rail topics.
That's
Are you sure
right.
you want to do
Careful.
this?
Yeah, careful.
Nobody should have to say anything. No blowhard should ever go to bed without making proclamations that don't change anything.
Hear, hear.
Okay? That's where I'm coming from. John Popper's on the line. It's his parents' house. John?
Hey, how's it going, Adam?
Good, John. Good to speak to you.
Finally, somebody is speaking out about homelessness. I think it's bad, too.
I want to put an end to it.
And foodlessness.
And food. And there's a lot of food insecurity. Do you know that 9 out of 10 children don't know where their next meal is coming from?
That's a lot of kids.
They don't know if
That
it's
is
Chick-fil-A or
ridiculous.
Carl's Jr. They don't know.
I didn't know where my food was coming from. I just knew it was there.
Yeah, you found it. Yeah,
I found it. It was in the same place every time. Somebody put stuff there. And the fact that there are kids going around who don't know that there's food where they left it last, that's messed up. It is.
I know.
Well, so how you doing?
Good. Yeah, there's a box that's in the kitchen, and it's cold, and that's where they leave
it has
the
the
food.
bologna in it.
That's where the bologna. Where'd you grow up? Like somewhere in Ohio or something?
No, I grew up in Stanford. I was born in Cleveland, but I moved when I was like 2. I moved. My parents moved and took me with them around 2,
That was nice.
and we lived in Stamford, Connecticut till I was in high school, and then I moved to Princeton. That's where I met the band.
Well,
But in my mom's house, I remember I wasn't allowed to eat a lot, so she would hide the food, and then I would get my little brother Ted, he'd go in and he'd smuggle out bologna in his pockets. And then my sister used to refer to it as the furry blue bologna with the pocket lint on it.
Oh, boy.
By the way, when we refer to someone as smuggling the bologna, that was a derogatory
That's a whole
term.
different thing. It took on a whole different meaning.
Yeah, it was right. That guy and the turd burglar were basically in the same place.
Different world.
Yeah, the turd burglar. Why is he trying to steal that anyway?
I don't know what the turd burglars are
never
up
know.
to. But
I remember
anyway,
the ham burglar, but he wasn't stealing ham.
but my assessment of Ohio for you was somewhat correct because you were born in Cleveland, which probably got stuck in my head somewhere, and then you moved on.
Chardon, Ohio. That's right.
And what's your parents do? And you're at their house right now?
I'm actually at my parents' home. I came to visit them here in D.C., and my little brother Ted, who used to smuggle the bologna, but not in that term, is here as well. So they're all looking at me. They're just hearing my side of the conversation, and they're all horrified.
What are you talking to Adam about?
Is your what's your brother?
But my dad was a vice president at Squibb, and then before that, U.S. Bank. He would design computer systems for companies. And then my mom, after having 7 kids, became a lawyer.
Oy vey.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's impressive.
She got to settle a lot of
But she
arguments.
just couldn't sit around the house. Once the kids started going to school, she needed to find something to do.
Now, how has, and I am sorry if your brother's within earshot, but families seem to react, maybe I'm grafting on a little too much of my own shit here, but families have many different ways to react to somebody being successful. There is a part where they want to travel with the band and work the merch table. There's a part where they pretend like they don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
There's the weird dismissive, like not really my cup of tea with the blues joggers or whatever you guys are calling yourself.
And
You
don't
got to
forget,
remember, you're going through those phases as well. Like there's a point
sure.
in your career when you're like, "Oh, it's so exciting, we're doing this," and then they're kind of sick of you talking about it.
And then there's
and
the
then
final,
point
what,
when they
you think you're
actually
better
see
than
how
me?
the sausage gets made, and it's kind of just like, yeah, have fun with that.
Yeah. So,
So, I think the closer you're exposed to seeing what that means, they know that it's like a racket.
who's the biggest fan in amongst the family for Blues Traveler?
Well, they're all pretty supportive. I mean, I'm sitting surrounded by my family, so,
What are you going to say?
You notice I'm not swearing either.
So, as a young guy, let's see.
Yeah.
Obviously, there is a connection. I use you as an example a lot, John. I always go, if John wasn't lonely and if John was getting laid and had a ton of video games and distractions, I don't think we'd have the virtuoso harmonica
You wouldn't
player.
hear from him. Yeah, you're right. I would have been completely, if I was getting laid at all in high school, I wouldn't have taken up the harmonica. I would have been otherwise occupied. I would have smelled a lot better, too.
Yeah, so I have
once you start seeing women, then you learn that, oh, yes, I offend. And, you don't know that when you're by yourself.
You were like big guy on a moped, right?
Yeah, I was a fat kid on a moped, exactly.
It's a good image.
I'm picturing you at 15 and a half, big John
Oh, my God.
Popper on
Well,
a
I
moped.
did have the Puch Magnum 2 moped, which had
Oh,
the
the
top
Puch.
tank. It was like missing an engine, and it would only go 25 miles an hour. But, it was the reason I actually got that thing was my parents didn't tell me when we moved to New Jersey, the driving age was 17, and we moved on my 16th birthday from Connecticut, where I was expecting fully to drive. So I guilted them into a moped, but then I got such horrible grades. I think it was straight Fs, something like that. I made this resolution in the 8th grade to just not do homework.
Sure.
And it worked out great for me, but apparently everyone got mad at me for a while. But the moped then was ridden around by my little brother till I got my grades up.
That baloney smuggler cruising the bars at night.
He did smuggle a lot of baloney for me, so he kind of deserved that.
So was that? By the way, Puch. You guys know Puch?
No.
Puch
Yes, it was the Puch Magnum 2.
It was it sounds like a condom, but it was a very popular moped. Mopeds were all the rage in circa 1979.
Do you know a single person that actually pedaled a moped?
No, but they
had that bicycle option, but who really did that?
They all came in from like Europe. They're moped dealers. By the way, that was the haves and the have-nots. If you saw some 15-year-old kid on a moped, like that kid was a winner. Oh, yeah.
You kind of were mad at his parents just seeing him.
Yeah, there's no way we were moped material in my family. But what parents did is they made a kind of deal, which is, look, first off, it's essentially a motorcycle.
Yeah, it looks like one.
And one could even argue it is a little more dangerous than a motorcycle because you can't keep up.
is.
You don't have the power to get...
You get on major road. I actually got knocked off the road, and my first trip to the hospital, I had like traumatic amnesia because I guess I landed on my head or something. But I don't remember crashing. I just remember waking up and they're putting me in an ambulance.
Yeah,
and it's because you invariably wind up on a major road you're not supposed to be on, and you're trying to like deal with it.
You're going 19. Yeah, John's fat ass is going 14 miles an hour on a major highway, and vans are passing him at 65, and it's more dangerous. It's more dangerous than a motorcycle. Yet people treat it. It's a bazooka that people treat like a pop gun.
Yeah,
and for parents, it's the greatest thing ever because even though it's super dangerous, you never have to deal with carting your kid around anymore. Just go hop on this death trap and make your way to the mall.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome. I had independence. Suddenly I could go play. I used to tool around the backwoods in New Jersey all the time. I think I got as far as I want to say I certainly got to Rutgers and, driving from Princeton, which is pretty far. New Brunswick, and I almost made it to the city. I think I made it to the Pulaski Skyway.
Wow.
Just, riding various roads and things. But when I got a motorcycle,
I'm picturing it in my
that
mind.
also was a nightmare because that was an automatic transmission bike. It was the Honda-Matic.
Honda-Matic?
That's fancy.
The very rare Honda-Matic in 1992. I was 25, and I still didn't know how to work gears. I don't know how to drive standard even now. And so what I thought was great, it's like a giant adult mini bike. But what you learn is that the only way to slow down is to downshift. And all you got is the brake. So I'm in Louisiana tooling along. I've overcome my fear of speed. I'm doing 70 miles an hour everywhere. and there's this car just sitting there, and there was a groove on the right side. I couldn't go in that ditch. So all I could do was try and pass on the left, and then they turned. So I screeched on the brakes. That's all I had, and I almost sped up into the car.
Have you hit the car?
Oh, yeah, I was in a wheelchair for 2 years.
Oh, my God.
2 years.
That's where I really gained the weight. I gained about 150 pounds in that wheelchair.
That is where, shortly after that accident, John, this is Dawson. We spoke about this on KLSX. Saw you at the Fillmore, and you said, I want to dedicate, you played the whole show from a wheelchair. And then you said, I wanted to dedicate this next song to my physical therapist because without her, I couldn't do this. You stood up and played the song alone, and there was not a dry eye in the house. I cried. I told you about this, and you said,
you.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that was really my trick, though, is I had one perfectly good leg, so once a show, I would stand up like it's the first time I've ever stood up again.
Like a tent revival.
Yeah, it was a Ken Revival style, and I would get it like, oh my God, I'm doing it, and everybody would get so excited.
Yeah, you told me it was a gimmick.
Else I used to do in a wheelchair? I would go to restaurants and purposefully crash into people's tables, and then I go, everyone's looking at me. I want to leave, and you can't. I can't tell you how fast everyone is staring at their dinner and ignoring me. It's like, you are training people to just not hear you, and you can make a lot of noise, and people will pretend you're not there.
So
it was fun.
How big were you? What were your dimensions when you were in high school on that
weight
moped?
Was 436.
Wow. But what were you like in the junior year of high school?
Junior year of high school, I was like 285.
Still funny on a moped.
Yeah, that's good.
I was knocking on the door at 300, but 300 still seems endlessly far away. And then somewhere in adulthood, I passed 300, and then after 350, I started getting diabetic and all that stuff.
Was your mom trying to hide the food from you with the brother and that?
Well,
stuff?
yeah, hence the bologna. I remember there was like 7 kids. There was one giant bag of Doritos, and she would hide it way up in the food cabinet. But I took that as a challenge, and I would find the food where she hid the food. And so, like, the more she hid it, the more I was interested in, like, finding it. And, you know, she was imaginative. I'd find it different places every time.
Speaking of looking for food, Dawson's kitchen burnt down last night.
What?
Oh, no.
His dog was looking for food.
Yeah.
What happened?
Jesus, took the body. I don't know we were going to bore John with all this, but yeah.
Why not?
Midnight last night, I went to bed about 11:30, got the dogs in bed. We're watching some Upright Citizens Brigade. Champ, the little one, gets off the bed to go do his nightly run around the house to see if I left any food out. He's gone for about 7 minutes, comes back into the bed. Next thing I know, halfway through the episode of UCB, the smoke alarm's going off. And
Your dog set the fire?
Yes. He went up on my gas range. His paws, I've seen him hit the thing before. Stupid me. I didn't get a child-proof thing. I should have. Next thing I know, midnight last night, my house is full of 2 feet of smoke from the ceiling down. I walk into the kitchen. It is on fire. And it just, as soon as I look into the kitchen, it just hit that crucial point where all of a sudden now we're on fire.
Are you saying we're on fire now?
Yeah. All of a sudden.
Please tell me this was the Dalmatian.
No.
Dutch Shepherd, right?
It's a Dutch Shepherd.
He's so cute.
And I was told by German Shepherd lovers when I said, hey, what do you know about the Dutch Shepherd? And all they said was, ooh.
Yeah, they'll burn you.
They'll burn your house down.
Wow, we're looking
so I
at
grabbed
pictures.
I grabbed the fire extinguisher under the sink.
Nice.
Put the fire out in 3 seconds. Called the fire department. Took a few pictures. Took a picture of the dog.
So the dog turns on the burner with the paw, but what catches on fire?
I had that wonderful chef's knife Brian gave us for Christmas on top, so the plastic burned there. Oh. I had an old cast iron pot with a wooden handle that caught fire, and there was, a coffee holder, vacuum sealer thing. Mm-hmm. But by the time I got there, the hood fan had lit on fire.
So what do you do? You put those weird
Well,
turning
you certainly buy
knobs?
new stuff. Now, I think
That's
the dog
true.
was doing you a favor.
Yeah, I talked to my insurance adjuster, and he said, yeah, we call that a forced remodel. I wanted to redo the kitchen anyway, so.
Good for you. All right, John.
At least you're not the guy who, like, you ever see the pictures of the hunters who get shot by their dogs?
Yeah.
They're, like, trying to get a Christmas card going. And put the gun somehow in the dog's paws, and then they get shot in the ass.
Believe me, if this guy could find a way, he just
Oh,
might.
yeah, if he had access to a
watch him.
pistol. You buy any new guns, speaking of that, John? Anything impressive?
Yeah, a couple. You know, I went classic Colt Python because, you know, I needed something shiny and something I can really, like, shoot in the backyard a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I got a flamethrower.
Oh, from Elon?
Yeah, you know, there is no Elon is what you call a torch because it only shoots like 4 feet. This thing will throw a flame like 35, 40 feet. I'm terrified of the thing, but I just wanted to get one before some kid did something stupid and then they were illegal. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, no.
there's no flamethrower laws anywhere in the country. It's an agricultural equipment. You can buy one.
Oh, interesting.
burn
Yeah,
fields, burn
Dawson,
crops.
don't get one of those because that dog
I
will
live in
figure
a
out a way.
log cabin that's surrounded by trees, so I'm terrified of ever loading it with gasoline. But the one time I might use it is every year in the winter. We're always snowed in for a couple of days, and I might try melting my driveway.
Yes.
So tell me the device. Is it worn like a backpack?
Full on flamethrower. It's got one tank pushes the gasoline, and then there's another little nozzle that lights that stream, and that stays lit, and then you shoot a jet of gasoline past it. If you want things to stick, like the flame to stick, you use diesel fuel, and it's thicker, so that'll work. But the whole idea is that it's, you know, those kerosene pressurized tanks. You screw one of those in the front, and that's your pressure, and that pushes things through it. And you have a back tank that'll go for a while, or it has a little portable tank that lets you burn for about a minute. But again, I have not loaded it. It's sitting in my safe just for someday.
We have
Special occasion.
Yeah, that squirrel.
Yeah, I'm terrified of even just
dodged
having
a
a
bullet,
big
I would
tank of gasoline
put it
in my
in.
garage. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I was saying the squirrel you shot inside your house dodged a bullet by you not having the flamethrower, but I don't know if the squirrel actually
Dodged
dodged
a
that
bullet.
bullet.
Yeah, he technically didn't dodge any bullets, but he dodged a big-ass flame. Definitely. It would have been a slower demise. I'm really good at slowly euthanizing animals. I never take...
my God.
That squirrel was the exception. I took him out in one shot.
What percentage of Americans have fired a pistol at a living creature inside of their home? It's got to be less than 40%.
Oh, living people, yeah.
Low double digits.
That's pretty safe.
Yeah, that survived, you know, yeah, probably. I'd say 40% is a good number.
I'd say so. All right. Now, what John and I were talking about, or supposed to talk about, is some thrilling news to everybody. It is a show called Working Blue with Adam Carolla and John Popper, January 20th and 21st. So the COVID thing screwed up the cruise. We normally would go on the Carolla Fans Cruise. We do it every year. It's a highlight. Everyone hangs out, gets drunk, has a good time, and we do some live pod and shows a new doc, and
Gambling.
Chris's band would play and all that. So we figured since the cruise thing is so cattywampus right now, we'll do a land version of that cruise. And John Popper's going to be there. So we'll do live pod and we'll do a meet and greets and I'll do stand up. And we're going to do a screening of the K-Rock doc
Fucking
Oh,
hey.
yeah.
as well. And then John's going to do musical performances as well. And that's
It sounds so exciting. And what is the equivalent of a drunken cruise on land? Dallas, Texas.
That's right.
That's right. Now, you can reserve your spot. And I don't know, do we have the venue? The venue?
Yeah, so it's going to be, everyone's going to be, we're taking over a hotel, the Sheraton in Dallas. And then the theater where John's going to be performing and Adam will be doing stand-up is the Echo Theater.
All right, so it'll be the
Yeah,
Sheraton.
it sounds really pretty. It's a beautiful place.
And you can reserve your spot exclusively at adamcarolla.com. So it'll be the same thing. We'll just be on land. It'll just be, have your drinks, meet with the fans, meet with us, have a meal.
And no seasickness.
No seasickness. Watch
Very
Yeah,
watch
exactly.
the pod. Watch John.
Probably some vomiting, but
Yeah,
not a
but
lot.
it's your fault.
John, you'll be
40%.
performing. I think you should perform with Chris's band as your backup, right?
Sure.
I was
going to bring my guy Ben, but whatever you want.
Well, bring your guy Ben, keyboardist, right?
I believe we're going to bring my band out there too.
Oh, okay.
And it would be
how fun.
it would be the thrill of a
Absolutely.
lifetime to have John sit in. Also, we're going to learn a couple Blues Traveler songs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, perfect.
I'm
I
loving
love
this. I'm loving this stage mom element of yours, Adam. Have him play with Chris. It'll be great. I love it.
Yeah, so think if you've been on the cruise, look at this as a land yacht.
Yeah.
I have a 60-second promo that kind of puts it all together. If you just want to hear it, John will be able to hear it.
Let's listen to
There
it.
we go.
That sounds
Yeah, you're
fucking
good at
fun.
that. You should do that for a living.
Hey,
Think about
John,
it.
I was talking to... Who was I talking to from Bush yesterday?
Gavin Rossdale.
Gavin Rossdale. There you go. I've interviewed so many people in the last week.
Cool.
And I said to him, who's your big celebrity fan? And then I realized I should ask every prominent musician, who are your celebrity fans? He had Brad Pitt, I think, which is nice. Who are Blues Travelers? I know Ron Jeremy used to like you guys.
Yes. He still does, as far as I know, but I haven't seen him in a while.
Doesn't get to go to too many shows.
I count you among them, and then there's
You better do
like
better
Woody
than me.
Harrelson.
Okay.
And I remember I met Sting once, and he said, Dustin Hoffman's a big fan of your music. And I said, oh, really? And he said, yeah, I was on his yacht, and he was working out to your music. And I said, what's this horrible shit? And he said, it's Blues Traveler. I was in a Sting joke. It was awesome.
Wow.
So, you never know. But, and apparently that year that they lost, the Buffalo Bills were fans of ours. And we were very excited about that until they played Dallas.
Oh, the year they lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So, I'm over it now, so I can say that the Bills were.
Take your revenge on the city of Dallas when you're there.
That's right.
I was speaking of Sting and the Police, and I like some early Police stuff, but I don't like all of it,
man.
and it's kind of weird. And I was sitting around listening to a song, Fine Walking on the Moon, Dawson, and I thought, weird that Walking on the Moon was a hit. It's a kind of a nothing.
That's unlikely.
It's a
Barely
nothing
nothing.
burger.
Unlikely.
There's nothing to it. It's kind of slow, and it doesn't really end.
But, Walking on the Moon is unlikely.
I'm always surprised when nothing songs become big hits. Like it's a nothing.
Yeah.
It's not even.
Pretty
It's
boring.
barely a song.
Yeah.
It's barely a song.
500 Miles. That's the one I always think of.
At least that's fun
Yeah.
It's a crowd
and
pleaser.
silly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You would
it's
have.
silly. And, Love Shack is another silly one.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just like to be silly.
You would have been a horrible Police member. Because you would have got 40 seconds into this dirge and went, I can't do it anymore. Let's fucking
Kick
pick
it
up
up
the
a notch.
pace. Kick it in. When something happened.
When the band started playing, that's actually all they did was Police covers. And I kept yelling, can I do a harmonica solo in this one? No, there's no harmonica in this one. And that really is part of why we started writing our own stuff, so I could get a harmonica solo.
Really?
Yeah, it's just kind of silly. I mean, this is back in the 80s, and, we were in high school.
Did you cover a lot of Police?
Yeah, they made me do some Police songs. I'm trying to remember. And then that other one, when you close your eyes and you go to sleep, sleep, sleep,
Oh,
sleep.
Oh, that's
yeah,
talking
it's
sleep.
romantic.
I didn't have a delay, so I
Romantic.
literally had to say sleep, 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 sleep.
Did
No
you sing that
effects.
one with a lisp, John?
Yeah. Which one?
I hear the secret that you keep.
Oh, he doesn't sound
He
that
does.
way. He's
Yes,
no
he does.
baloney smuggler. What do you imply?
Yeah,
That's
I
what-
was,
that's the
I
way-
was terrible. I didn't know that song at the time either, so I was kind of making it up.
Oh, okay.
What-
That's
what-
better.
So what Police songs do you recall covering?
Every Little Thing She Do Is Magic, but don't ask me to remember the words. And then there was, I think they liked playing Walking on the Moon, tell you the truth.
Stop it.
I would give anything to hear a tape of us covering that, because, it wasn't quite as smooth as the actual Police version.
But is that Blues Traveler, or is that a band before Blues Traveler?
That's the band that became Blues Traveler. I believe the very first name at that point, we called ourselves The Establishment. My drummer invited me into that band, when he was a freshman and I was a junior the first time. Mm-hmm. And then we went and did that, and eventually we called ourselves Blues Band because I was thinking, what are we? This is what we are. We're a blues band. Mm-hmm. And like we didn't sound like a blues band, but we were terrible. And I had more of a Bill Murray lounge act kind of voice. I didn't really learn how to sing yet. But then we discovered, weed and LSD and stuff, and that kind of opened us up a little bit. And then we got very hippie-ish.
And so beginning, what was your set list for covering?
Star Wars. Talking about those Star Wars. But
Star Wars.
Yeah, like, whoa, whoa, it was like that kind of voice. And we would do, there's one called And So It Goes, not the actual song And So It Goes, but we called it And So It Goes. And in it, I give this sort of, I break it down for everybody to go, I've seen a lot of things in this world. My voice had fully changed. So I was giving them sound advice from
17 years old
17-year-old kid.
And So It Goes is a Dave Edmunds song. Isn't it?
Yeah, but we had a whole different version. Well, I've been around this world and I've seen some things. There ain't no free lunches. You got to watch for the strings. Some shit like that.
Oh, it's a Billy Joel song?
Really
I know a Billy Joel song.
And so it goes, and so it
it's
goes.
Beautiful.
Find the Dave Edmunds and So It Goes. There is
I always heard about that song, and I still don't know it.
You never heard?
You've never heard of it? And so it goes, or something like that.
It's a Dave Edmunds song, who's kind of a fringy guy, but I guess if you know who Graham Parker is, or Elvis, it's Elvis Costello, kind of Joe Jackson. Dave Edmunds was all kind of.
I loved Elvis Costello.
I did too.
I got a guy named Dave Zobel who does it. I'm not seeing Dave
Married
Edmunds.
name?
Oh, God. And So It Goes. Who did that song? Is it Dave?
Nick Lowe?
Nick Lowe. It's a fucking Nick. Oh, I should have brought up Nick Lowe. Nick Lowe, Graham Parker, Dave Edmunds, Joe Jackson, Elvis Costello. It was all that sort of late 70s Englishy.
Is it a sleepy ballad?
No.
It was just real heavily produced. That time was like a lot of production.
Peppy. Tell me if this is the one you're thinking of.
No, I made up the words to my own song, So It Goes, because I never knew about that song. I just called it that. But I think the lyrics to mine were, fate's my friend and fate is my brother. Fate's my life, I don't know another. You try to stay happy, you try to stay sane. You get a little pleasure and you get a little pain. You grab that brass ring because you know you got to try. And you keep right on grabbing until the day you die. Life's a big gamble, you haven't won quite yet. There ain't, I can't remember the rest of it.
John's family
more
standing around.
Stuff like that. I wrote a song about the space shuttle blowing up, and I called it "Ain't That Life."
Wow.
Comedians look back at their old jokes and wince. Do you look back?
Yeah, I'm wincing. I'm wincing.
As long as you're wincing. All right.
But that space shuttle song actually got me through high school English because when the teacher asked, I was in senior year when the space shuttle Challenger blew up. And they asked us how we were feeling about it. I said, well, actually, I wrote a song about it. And they put me in front of I went to so many PTA meetings to play that song for the parents who got all choked up because, the kids are reaching out to us.
Wow.
And then I found the next year when I was going to the new school, I needed to take one English class. And I think I took the analysis of being an art critic. And so, all you have to do is just argue the whole time and go, well, what if Plato didn't think a table was just a table? And then at the end, there was nothing to really do, but I sang that space shuttle song, and again, they passed me. That song got me through 2 years of English class.
Nice.
All right, John, we got to...
I thank the Challenger crew for their sacrifice.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Be sure to bring them up in Dallas.
John... plug, you can go to adamcarolla.com and reserve your spot. It's going to be January 20th and 21st in Dallas, and a good time shall be had.
I promise I won't play any high school songs at the show.
By all. Yeah, but we should... Well, we'll request a few. I'm putting your set list together.
Oh, my God. Yeah, only you don't want to hear them, but yeah, all right. We'll see what you think.
We'll start with Big Bottom. All right. Thank you, my friend.
Life anyway.
Love that guy. Imagine how crazy his high school days were. Fat guy on a moped. I mean,
harmonica.
6'3", 300-pound dude on a miniature little Puch.
Playing the smallest instrument.
with those Pooks, those things, one cylinder, 100 cc's.
One gear, apparently.
And 1.5 horsepower, like literally like a leaf blower motor on that thing. Just,
So what do you think he'd top out at miles per hour?
I think he could get up to maybe 16 or 17 miles an hour,
but downhill.
It would take a while.
I see.
With a breeze at his back. Well, let me tell you about Good Ranchers. Store-bought meat can mean scary bacteria and ghoulish prices. Recently, 44 tons of meat was recalled. You guys heard that story in the news. Trade in spooky store-bought meat for peace of mind with Good Ranchers. They deliver America's best meat and seafood year-round. Their October Feast special just got better. Up to 4 pounds of meat free. Order any box and get over 2 pounds of their better-than-organic chicken breasts for free as well. And if your order is over $300, you'll also get 2 pounds of Wagyu ground beef too. So head to goodranchers.com/Adam to claim your special October feast for 4 free pounds of meat and do it today. Am I right, Dawson?
Good Ranchers lets you save $25 on every box and lock in your price when you subscribe. Put an end to your meat buying nightmare by visiting goodranchers.com/Adam to get over 4 free pounds of high-quality beef and chicken. The real monster isn't under your bed, it's in your fridge. Take control over your food with an October feast from Good Ranchers, American meat delivered.
Comedian Danny Jolles is going to join us, and we'll talk to him right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Yo, Ace Man. You guys were talking about childhood Halloween costumes. Well, unfortunately for me, as a kindergarten first grader, my parents ran a Christian radio station, so Halloween was satanic. So I could only go as a Bible character to school and trick-or-treating. The lame man, the leper. And then to add insult to injury, instead of candy, she would pass out a Bible tract with a penny stuck to it. And then you wonder why all our pumpkins got smashed. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Danny Jolles, stand-up comedian and actor, is with us. He's got a special out called You Choose, an interactive comedy special. It's very interesting and innovative and funny, and so we'll get into that. But first, any Halloween embarrassing mom costume stories?
We would do the classic, absolutely classic rotation from hobo to it was like hobo to injured person it's like the easiest costumes to do is sort of our general thing.
Like jeans with a patch and a bindle stick.
Yeah, pirate. It's just like anything that was like easy because it's like that's just you just take a shitty like sweatshirt and then you put a little dirt on your face and everybody's like, that's a costume.
Right.
And so I was homeless or I was I was a pirate or something like that, but it was always like $5 was sort of the going budget.
So Adam, every day you were in a costume.
I was essentially destitute. It did remind me that message was my mom was a health food nut. So she would hand out, one year she handed out little boxes of raisins.
Ugh, brutal.
Worst. And then the other one, she gave out whole unshelled walnuts.
Oh, thank God.
Which, by the way,
nothing kid likes
cannot
more.
be opened in the wild by a 9-year-old unless that 9-year-old has a ball peen hammer with them and a cold chisel. Like they're can't physically.
No, that's insane.
Good for chucking back at the house.
Good projectile.
Oh yeah,
that's a good point.
So yeah, she would do the walnuts. The kids wouldn't see what was going in the bag, but then they'd walk halfway back down the driveway to examine their booty, and then they'd pull the walnuts out and throw it back at the house.
That's so fun. We had this rule in my house, I forgot about this, that we got 10 pieces of candy that got to stay with us, and the rest of the bag was taken away at the end of the night.
Oh. Smart.
So, not smart,
Sorry.
mean, cruel,
Thinking as a
terrible.
parent now.
And so as a result, that night, the goal was eat as much candy as you could throughout the night because it was not coming with you.
All right, this is a very good point. These unintended circumstances or consequences that I keep talking about all the time, like in big or small. You know what I mean? Like when they go, city of Minneapolis goes, we're going to have cheap subsidized housing. And it's like, okay, guess who stops pulling permits for building multi-unit buildings? They go, oh, fuck that. I mean, the idea is good, but then the reaction. So you don't want your kid to OD on candy, so you're going to cut to kids stuffing faces in a driveway with candy. That's all humans work that way. That's how it is. So be careful what you mandate.
Every single mandate needs to be done, and then a room needs to get together and go, so what's the obvious loophole?
Right.
What is everyone going to use this for to do, and how do we go into it knowing it's coming and stopping it? Because that's the whole thing. The whole game is loopholes. The second they said no candy after first night, it's like, okay, well, we're going to die tonight. I'm going to eat every ounce of candy I can.
Yes, they need some strategists, a couple of football offensive coordinators, and some good Republicans who want to save money and go, how do you beat this game? Because that's the plan. Like, here's the deal. No gambling. In the state of California, we'll build a barge. We'll put it out to sea. We'll put it on water. You know what I mean? Taxes are. I'll register my cars in Montana and keep them there. Like,
there's always a way.
Stop trying to outsmart people with regulations. They're smarter than you, and they'll figure it out.
The daily fantasy thing, that's a wild game. I can't place a bet on the line, but I can do DraftKings daily fantasy for thousands of dollars if I want to. It's like, what are we doing? What is the game here?
I don't know. I just heard that the lotto. By the way, I don't even like this part. Only the government could. I'll put it to you this way: the lottery's up to $600 million, right?
Yep.
And then they go, your cash payout is $285 if you choose it. The lottery's $600 million. You could get $294. Would the government allow another business to do this?
No, it's outrageous.
Would California allow a business to advertise that's $600 million? We give them under $3. Like, they'd shut them down.
Could you imagine if it was a charity? If you ran a charity organization, you're like, we're going to give $300 million to this to this thing to build this, and then they were like, we're actually going to give $100 million. You'd be like, well, we have to destroy this entire thing. That's
defrauding the shareholders.
We're going to listen to something from your special, by the way. I think it's the David Blaine.
Oh, here we go.
One.
Well, for Danny's special, it's a choose your own adventure kind of thing. So at the end of one of his bits, you have a choice for his next joke. Either you love David Blaine or you hate David Blaine. So we're going to listen to if you clicked I hate David Blaine.
Fuck David Blaine. Fuck David Blaine. Absolute worst. He does this TED Talk about how he held his breath for 17 minutes. He reveals the trick. And the way he did the trick, get ready for this, is he just fucking did it. He's a psychopath. We have to do something. He's just out there. He's like, I started at 2 minutes. I went to 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. It took years of training. He had ribs moved so his lungs could expand further. After years of training, attempts it live on the Ellen DeGeneres show. Fails. Tries it again a couple months later. Succeeds. It's so difficult that afterwards he's to be rushed to the hospital and given oxygen or he might have died. And at the end of the TED Talk, he starts to cry. And he goes, and that is why I love magic. You can't be rushed to the hospital at the end and given oxygen. That doesn't count. The dismount is a part of the trick. Right? You watch the Olympics, you have to, at the end, but you don't get credit. You didn't hold your breath for 17 minutes. You drowned. For 17 minutes. I was looking up online. There was a girl in Australia, and she was surfing. She gets sucked under by the undertow. She's underwater 44 minutes. They pulled this girl out. They're able to resuscitate her. Thank God. But I feel like at the end, she can't be like, ta-da!
That's funny.
That's awesome.
It's true. They're kids that gone under for an hour, but you have to be in icy water. It helps.
Slow down.
That's the key.
Water, it slows you all down.
If you're going to go under, you want to make sure that water is a little cold.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
for all you aspiring magicians,
you want to try real hard to stay out of the cold water, but if you gotta go in, that's where you want to. That's where you want to go in.
And that's such a great observation about what is magic? Is magic a sleight of hand illusion that keeps us all in childlike wonder, or is it like doing something kind of weird that just you're good at?
Yes,
it's a good question that you brought up.
It is. It's because I talk about this earlier in the special, but I can work clean. And so because of that, they pair me with magicians all the time. That is just like a nightmare of working clean is they're just like, magician, you'll work with them. And it is insane watching what they do because you see that they're not actually wizards, but they are stuffing 1,000 things into every orifice of their body to slowly pull out over the course of an hour. It's wild. But then if you click on the other side, by the way, I love David Blaine, and I'll defend that all day.
We got 50 seconds
the Lincoln
of
Douglas
you loving
debate.
David Blaine.
Oh, boy, here we go.
I love David Blaine. Love him so much. Any Blaine heads? Yeah? He's the best. He's so good. People just take him for granted. I don't get it. He's so amazing. Did you guys see when he went up in the air holding a balloon in the middle of the pandemic? Anybody? Nobody? Nobody even talked about it. It's insane what you people think. Everybody just saw, he was for free on YouTube. And everybody was like, what's David Blaine doing today? The impossible? Nah. And everyone just moved on. It was the best thing I've ever seen. He just was like, I'm gonna go up in the air in a balloon. That's a dead-on impression. He goes, I'm gonna go up in the air in a balloon because my daughter loves balloons. He blamed the whole thing on his daughter, and then his daughter was there, and she was like, I said I like balloons one time, Dad. You do not have to do this.
Yeah. I talk about him getting shot in the face. That was one of his tricks. And that he did.
He levitated for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Did it fuck you up?
No. I've had two, let's see. I had David Blaine levitated for me, and then
a wild sentence.
Chris
Angel
bent a fork for me using telepathy.
Wow.
Yeah, except for it was a fork he got out of his car. And
a little suspicious.
Was a little suspicious.
There was a kitchen right down the hall.
We had a kitchenette with forks in it.
Wait, who's the 70s spoon bender guy?
Yuri Geller.
Yeah,
wow.
Yuri Geller style.
Good pull.
Yeah, Yuri could stop watches and bend silverware.
Wow.
Also,
Poor
first
man,
off,
Superman.
Is that a special skill, ruining utensils? You know what I mean? Like, are you a net positive for the people on there? It's like, why don't you build a bridge or cure cancer instead of bend fucking spoons?
If you ask the companies that make utensils, that's a great way for them to have to keep selling.
That's
You're
right.
creating
maybe
a market.
this big utensil.
Mm-hmm, that's big utensil behind it all.
They're in cahoots with Faberware.
Would Yuri Geller, would he put his hands on it? Chris Angel would put his hands on it, but again, if you're able to do this, you should be able to do it with your mind, because I can bend a spoon if you're going to let me put both hands on it. But he kind of did this thing, but he's doing this kind of light touch and kind of warming it, and it bent, but it was a spoon from his car, a traveling spoon. So not that David Blaine levitated, but in order to levitate, you have to turn your back at about. You have to turn your back at.
Doesn't he turn his back to you?
Yeah.
I've sadly I've seen the reveal on that, and his back has to be to the person.
Don't tell us.
I'm not going to.
I love magic.
It's interesting. But
it's great. It's great if you click that side. And I do love. I will say Magic Castle. I think is
the best.
The top LA activity.
Except for the dress code.
Dress code's ridiculous. The rules are stupid.
I was with Dr. Drew when he was not let in because he didn't have a sport coat. He had to go down to Sunset Boulevard, I think it was a CNN building, and go to wardrobe and change before they let him back in. I was with Susan and Drew.
I've been there with people where they just have a huge box of oversized jackets from the 60s, and they just... The guy I was with was a tiny guy, and they just gave him this thing. It looked like, when you put your dad's blazer on when you're 9, his hands couldn't be seen. And it's like, I get it. I get the dress code, but is this a better outcome?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have a box.
They didn't offer Dr. Drew the box.
They chucked one on my wife at one point. I forget why. I think she
jacket.
She had too much
women have to wear
shoulders.
them?
There was a shoulder. You have to be somewhat covered.
In a gown.
It's ironic in a nothing up my sleeve place. You cannot be sleeveless. It's funny. Would you love sleeves? Do you hate sleeves? What's your relationship with sleeves, Magic Castle?
I've been successfully avoiding the Magic Castle my entire life. Give me a reason to go.
It's incredible.
I've been there.
That's not a reason.
Been there. I don't know, 6, 7 times.
It's fantabulous.
Because they do. It's most of it is close-up magic, and so when things appear,
that's a reason not to go.
But when things appear in your hand, it's very fun. You got a cocktail in one hand, 3 balls in the other, and then you do the trick.
All right,
great date night.
But it is fun.
Absolutely phenomenal date night.
Okay.
Like you're gonna go. The best part, because that is the best part, is like there's like the big show, which is like fine.
Yeah.
But then like the coolest part is you'll be at a bar and just some guy will be like, "You want me to do some magic for you?" And then he's the best magician you've ever seen in your entire life.
It's true. The basement's fun.
Yeah,
It's
the
just all-
basement. Every now and then some guys
good.
like come down to the basement with me, and you're like, "All right," and then he just does again. The
Lonely
most
smuggler wants to meet you in the basement.
It's like trying to mind your own business at Disneyland, but the characters keep coming up to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a club.
And it's not a
Ignoring the black pages.
and it's not a recognizable character.
Right.
It's just a pirate. But you're like, it seems like probably somebody knows who this is.
Someone semi-steampunk is asking you for your watch.
Yes, and there is.
I'm sold.
Yeah, then there's the Japanese joint at the top of the hill.
Oh, Yamashiro.
Is that Yamashiro? That was a big. Oh, I mean that. Elevated restaurants where there's just no fly zones for me growing up. Anything with a view would be a no-fly zone.
By the ocean, by a body of water.
By a body of water. Those steak houses that had like no windows and the big high booths that Johnny Carson would drink martinis at. Like you couldn't. Yeah. No can do. Yeah. Where'd you grow up, Danny?
I grew up in Virginia. Fairfax County, Virginia.
That sounds normal.
It was really normal. That's the way I describe it. I'm like, it's a great place to come from. Like it had a little bit of everybody, normal area, normal people, just like came out just like a normal, just loved, DC sports fan who just like loves normal things, and then went to NYU and became art. But like had that 18 years of like just being a like normal human. I know what normal humans talk like.
I was thinking about something. I'll piggyback on normal.
Sure.
I was thinking about, Chris, did you find that headline I was telling you to look for about the piano player?
I think so, yeah.
All right. And so I was playing this game with myself last night where I was thinking to myself, if you would have told me as a young person about the future and you explain something like a phone or an electric car that has, 300 miles range, you plug it in overnight, or certain innovations and then certain other things, I would have been like, oh my God, this is going to be awesome. Like this is, and when you make a movie and you start talking about the future, you go, you start talking about all the crazy innovation, just what your cell phone could do. You can look at someone, you can make calls, you can listen to,
all the music,
the
any music ever.
The notion that, you'd say to someone, think of somebody who your 5 friends with the biggest record collections in existence, and times that by 1 million could all fit into this thing like the size of a pack of cigarettes, and you could listen to it all, and you'd go, oh, that's insane. But then you also go, what is that headline, Chris? Well, I'll show it ahead. But this is also what the future's going to be. Transgender singer strips naked live on Channel 4 and plays keyboard with her penis. That's also going to be a real big part of your future.
Very confusing.
And I'd be like, I like the phone part, but what's this other part? That goes with the phone. That's what the future
but
is.
This is one. I will say that I'm like, more power to you, and I think it's great. And also
hero,
just
definitely.
take a look at somewhere between hero and I support it is where I like. I'm like, do your art, but there's also always been crazy art.
No,
this is just modern crazy art.
I totally agree. For me, it's more
the headline.
of her penis.
Sure, that's going to throw you.
She gets naked. Again, if you're talking to a 13-year-old version of me, I'd be like, she gets naked up on stage.
Sign me up.
All right.
I'm
Lots of
in the
love.
crowd. Then she plays the keyboard. What, spread eagle? No, with her cock.
Right.
She's my cherry. Then I'd be like, wait a minute.
But it's the exact same journey. It's the exact same journey as like the tiny phone, right? That has 500 songs. Where you'd be like, how? And you'd be like, okay, well, first you're gonna have to understand that we have the ability to take music
satellites.
and make it small.
We gotta
You're like,
back up.
Okay, yeah, and the satellite. It's like with this, you just have to, as a kid, be like, okay, so gender is going to at some point be something that people are going to get fluid with, and then from there you're going to go down the journey of the last 20 years. This is literally the close, without spoiling it for those that watch my special. This is the closing of my special.
You play the keyboard
with my
whoa!
But I go through how I understood transgender rights and what a real opinion sounds like, because the whole special is me clearly bullshitting to the crowd, and it's a reveal to the crowd at the end, like, oh, I've been lying to you this whole time. Here's what a real opinion sounds like, and it's me explaining how I got on board with transgender rights. And the way is me being like, so at this point from Virginia, I didn't even know what it was. Like, this was crazy. Then I went to NYU. I studied musical theater. All of a sudden, I'm around a lot of gay people. I'm starting to realize, and slowly me getting to a place where I was like, now I see the headline, I'm like, I get it.
No,
but that's the journey. It's a journey.
Listen, my thing is less judgmental, though I do love to judge. It's not, to me, it's the same with COVID and many other facets of life. It isn't how the people that are doing it and if they're doing it. Because I grew up in a world that was very progressive, and I saw a lot of this stuff early.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I didn't care. They're all idiots, by the way, and fucked up and damaged goods. So that's the other thing. I got a front row seat to. But I grew up with this stuff, and I saw it. It was more societal's reaction to it. Like, this woman walked into a bathroom at Denny's and then raped this girl, but it's a dude with a beard and a penis, and it's more about how we process it. But in terms of society, I guess I would have included all the terms and all the switching of the words and Latinx or Latinx or whatever that is. I was also thinking about the barbed wire around the freeway signs in LA. Like, you will have a phone, but you're also going to live in a place where there's barbed wire around freeway signs. Like, I would have been like, wait a minute, I thought it was a utopia we're heading into. No, it's kind of a hellscape with a lot of technology.
That's the give. That's the give and the take. You're going to get more progressive, and you're also going to have people act way worse as a result, because they're going to now, there's more freedom, which means more freedom equals good. People are going to be more themselves than they've ever been, more free to be themselves than they've ever been, and there's going to be people who support that. And on the exact same hand, there's going to be people who are more themselves than they ever would have been, and that's not great.
Yeah, they sucker punch random people in the train station.
It happened to me.
What?
I got knockout game to New York City.
Really?
Yeah. 3 stitches behind my right ear. Got me good.
Jewish guy?
Probably.
What happened? Tell us.
I was walking in front of, I was on my way to there's a scam when you first leave NYU acting school it's like pay to play auditions. So I was doing one of those. I was on my way. I was just walking, wearing headphones, and then.
What year is this? Sorry.
This is 2011. And I'm walking, and then it felt like I blinked, and then I was stumbling. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And then I turned around, and there were a bunch of kids running away, like 6 of them. And then I just was like, what? And then this lady was like, you just got punched. And I was like, what? And she's like, you just got punched. And I noticed there was blood on my shirt. And then this is what an insane person I was. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll go to this audition.
So you got the part?
and then I'll deal with this.
It was for a drifter.
Sure. It was insane. And then I literally kept walking to the subway. Then I was like, there's blood on my shirt. That's going to be crazy. We shouldn't be a complete insane person. Let me go back home quickly, change my shirt. And then thank God my roommate Alex was there. And I was like, can you just look at my ear? And he was like, it was bad cut. And he was like, 3 stitches on your ear is a lot of stitches on your ear. And he was like, you need to go to the hospital right now. And then it was like, kind of at that point, like hit me up like, oh, I'm woozy. Like, I'm not really thinking like myself. And then I had to go get 3 stitches. It was wild. Yeah. And then I also, it was right before it was popular So I also was like,
game?
So it was like me also being like, what?
You're a trial run.
Because they didn't steal anything.
They were in
wasn't
beta.
even an attempt. It was broad daylight. I was like, what just happened? And then finally this one cop was like, oh, it's this new thing. And I was like, haha, fun.
It's totally insidious. It's weird. Like, we don't judge because there's a race involved with it, but it's an insidious game. And if you go down, I mean, if the knockout game works and you hit your head on the sidewalk, you die pretty easily hitting your head on the sidewalk.
Someone died like a week after me. And that's like how I really was like, oh my, that's when it kind of, because at the time it was so, I didn't fall. I just got lucky where I didn't fall and I was okay. And it was like 3 stitches, which like hurt a lot, but it was like, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I just like, I'm kind of just like, all right, like go about my life type guy. And then as I kept reading, I was like, whoa, that could have been so bad. And it just didn't occur to me because it was wild. It was a wild experience. It's more of a gang initiation than anything else. At the time, they told me it was a gang initiation. Because I remember talking to a cop and he was like, the gang initiation is you have to knock somebody out in one punch. And I was like, well, he didn't get in the game.
Yeah, he didn't get in.
And then he was like, well, he'll have to do it again. I was like, oh, no.
The real insidious part is for everyone who's been hit, there's 10,000 people looking over their shoulder all the time going, I'm a little freaky about walking with my earbuds in down the street anymore.
And some part of me hates telling the story because I know people will hear it and be like, "Well, New York City, crazy place." I'm like, I lived in New York City for a long time. That was the only time that ever happened.
You only got raped once.
I call that a win.
I mean,
no, I get it.
Yeah, it's like it's a great city. I'm there all the time. It's a great city. There's some bad people. And the more people in a place, the more you're going to see people who are the coolest, freest people you've ever met. And you're like, awesome. And by that exact same hand, you got this side and they suck and they're going to ruin it sometimes for you. You just got to live with it.
Yeah, I think what it is or what it appears to be like 70s New York crime, at least to me living in North Hollywood, was people got mugged. There's a lot of, give me your wallet, like a switchblade, or women got raped jogging in Central Park. It was crime, but it wasn't random. It was just crime. It wasn't knockout game or push that guy onto the subway tracks. It was the randomness, I think, is what
it's what freaks me out.
Ups the freak out part. The part where, you're getting mugged, was you have a wallet, there's $80 in it, and someone goes, give me your wallet, and you go, I can live or be fine if I simply there's a transaction to be had here. But the knockout game or that was the
hardest part. The hardest part was being like, what did we gain from this? What did we gain from this experience for all of us? What did any of us enjoy out of this experience?
Yes, agree. Jeez.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's not funny at all.
It would be.
I'm so sorry. It's not in the special. It's not in the special.
I think a lot of people would have a little PTSD with that. Like,
I made myself, I'm a very much a like, you got to get through stuff guy. So I waited like 2 weeks and I went to the spot where it happened and I made myself walk back and forth.
Wow.
For like 30 minutes. Therapy. Just being like, we can't go around New York City afraid of a place. We can't be afraid of it. Mm-hmm. Do I wear headphones in New York City anymore? No. But other than that, like, I made myself just like do it. I was like, because you can't live in New York City afraid of strangers.
That's a very... aversion therapy. I mean, that's a very interesting. They call it aversion or immersion?
Aversion. Because you're averse to it and you're doing it.
Yeah, it was very, very intuitive.
Aversion and immersion therapy are too close.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. Danny Iron Jolles, man. This guy can take a punch.
Yeah. You can have that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm glad I got to say this on here.
No, I'm glad people know that. Because you withstood the punch from the initiation of the gang member, there's an elderly Asian woman in a coma right now.
That was a devastating moment.
I still say you're a hero.
Thank you so much.
The special is called You Choose, an interactive comedy special. You saw how it goes, and the full episode's available on YouTube. And
watch to the end. Give it a shot. Go to the end. I know it's rare in 2022 to make a special that actually builds to a point, and I know it's unheard of. But if everyone, that's my only thing is just watch it to the end because it's really worth it, and I promise you'll enjoy it.
And you can go, and if you want to find live dates, go to Danny, and I'll just spell it out, JOLLES.com for all the live dates. Tammy Pescatelli is going to be on next, and we'll do that right after this.
In the spirit of Murrow, Jennings, Cronkite, here's another great moment in local news.
Back here live at the Waterfront Village with my friend the zombie, Jonathan. You're looking good. Jonathan just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think?
I like turtles.
All right.
That's a great moment in local news. Now, back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Tammy Pescatelli, stand-up comedian. You probably know her from The Last Comic Standing. 2 seasons, right?
Yeah, if you're a million, you know me from that. That's all. I mean, I'm old.
You know her from being old. Yeah, I should address, Chris. People keep sending me. I've never been tweeted more than 94-year-old guy, Iranian guy who never bathed, and everyone keeps tweeting me that because I'm not a big bather.
Oh, you don't? I don't smell anything. After COVID, I had it twice. And
you did?
With this nose, you don't think that there's a God with a sense of humor? I can't smell anything. Isn't that
good.
Crazy? Yes.
Is that because of COVID?
Yeah, it went away and never came back.
Is that a net gain for you?
For me, it was. I have a husband and a son. I grew up with all boys. I wish it would have happened when I was 14. It would have made my life so much easier.
What is smelling stuff done for your appetite? Because I feel like a third of I could use something as like what's going on in here? Yeah, I'm hungry now.
No, you know what? With my appetite, it's good because I had gained a lot of weight during COVID, during the whole quarantine, being locked in the house and stuff. But you know what's bad? I was the person in my house that smelled gas. Like if it was bad, like no, you know how some people can smell it and
like
some people
can't?
Like a gas
leak?
Yeah, so I was the one who could do it. I'm like, well, if we die, you can just. It's another COVID-related death, I guess. I don't know. Like,
oh, right, because you wouldn't be the canary in the coal mine anymore.
That's comedy. That should be the name of my new special.
Well, by the way, I should explain live dates coming up. Laugh Factory at the Tropicana coming up November 2nd through the 6th. Oh, long hitch over there in Vegas, Cleveland, Ohio. Hannah Theater and Playhouse Square, and that'll be November 12th. And I'll give out the website before we go home. I'll spell it out for you guys.
Too many dates. But
really?
That's all I have. I'm a monologist,
You just go out, you're touring a lot?
That's all I've ever. Every once in a while I'd get something where I'd, get a development deal or something. But no, I mean, I'm a road dog since I was 1994, 24 years, 28 years. I can't do math. Who cares?
You're saying off the air that you're a car nut? Your dad was a car nut?
Yeah, my dad was. He was a semi-pro football player, and in the off season he would collect cars and try to sell them, and we would part them and things like that because you know how hard. Now you probably have a 3D printer for your cars, right? And print out parts like Jay.
No, but Leno does, and I could go to him.
Yeah, okay. So that's what we used to do. It was a lot of fun. And then my husband and I own a 10-bay mechanics garage.
Really?
And right before the pandemic, he had a stroke. So it was a weird thing. I wasn't out on the road. I lost 237 dates, but I went and ran the shop. So I became good at parting cars again and doing brakes and changing oil. I couldn't do a pit crew, but I can do basic stuff.
You can do brakes?
Yeah, I can do brakes, but that takes a while. I'm not fast. You know what I mean?
You so you could turn them and repack the bearings and put the rotors back on?
No. I can just pull them off and do all that stuff. We have real mechanics to do all that stuff.
Just checking.
Yeah, no. I just pull them off and then, but I'm good at oil changes.
Are you finding, so Chris was telling me his trials and tribulations with his catalytic converter and that it got stolen. Oh, by the way, this would have been an example, which is, you have this magical device. It's a phone. It has 1 million songs in it. You can send people messages around the world.
Stream movies.
And you can't park your motherfucking car in the street because an insane person will show up with another piece of technology. It's a battery-powered Sawzall and steal this thing that cleans the air that comes out of the back of your car. Like, these are the thoughts. At a 13-year-old, people had explained the future to me. This would have been all part of it.
Yeah, well, in the old days, it was just whatever your emblem was. Like if you had a Mercedes emblem or something like that.
The Beastie Boys or whatever on the neck.
Yeah, we live in, I left LA when I got pregnant. My son's 14, so we live in a really small town in northwest Pennsylvania, so that kind of stuff doesn't happen. What people steal is the change out of your ashtray.
Oh.
So that's what they steal.
And the roaches.
Yeah, I don't miss L.A. I will tell you, as much as I thought I did until I was driving, just literally driving here, and there was a naked man, literally buck naked, walking down the street with just a blanket up around his shoulders.
Oh.
Yeah, it was lovely.
There's a lot of that.
He was excited to be here.
There's a video that's funny
Visibly excited.
somewhere, Chris. There's a funny video of a guy you were bringing up stealing the hood ornament, the Mercedes or the Rolls Royce or whatever, and Rolls Royce addressed this because there's sinks down into the hood now, goes down into a little hatch and a door closes on it. And there's a video where somebody's trying to show off how this works, like a dealer going, you see how this works? Let's say somebody grabs it and just busts it off.
Oh, do you ever see the one where these girls are like posing on a Rolls Royce and they're like trying to pose and show off, and the guy must be upstairs to see it, and he clicks his thing, and the thing rises up and like just pretty much rams her.
Wow,
gooses
her.
Oh, the guy turns the car on,
and it comes flying
the
up.
Spirit of Ecstasy, which I think is
perfectly named.
I think the name of the Rolls Royce goddess is the Spirit of Ecstasy. The Jag's the Leaper.
The Leaper. That's
I
right.
think
Either
the
way.
Spirit of Ecstasy goes right up her coos.
This is sexual assault.
Yeah, well, it was the Spirit of Ecstasy for
Gotcha,
her
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, now you got two things to find, Chris.
yeah.
Did you know the Leaper and the other one have different names? The one that would be like when it's growling at you is the Growler. Yeah, the Leaper is the one that's making the leap, and the one on the logo that's like just the face.
Oh, it's the Growler. Yeah, interesting.
I learned that.
The
Interesting.
So are people coming into the shop with catalytic converter?
No, we
issues?
don't have a lot. Let me tell you something. It is not a lot of you know what's the biggest problem? People are stealing lights out of cars now. That's what we see a lot of. Headlights, those big, because they're so expensive. If you lose your lights, if you have a nicer car, Volvo, it's Midwest. We're not talking about Teslas and things like that, but we're talking about Volvos and some Mercedes and stuff. But they're $700-800 a light.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So insurance
Gina.
doesn't cover it.
Oh, insurance doesn't cover it. All right, we'll find that clip. I think we have a clip of stand-up as well. Do we have Tammy's threesome clip?
Oh, jeez.
Let's play it. Dawson's eating.
Do you like to hear yourself in your stand-up?
If it's funny. Some stuff's funnier than others. If it's funny, I'm like, oh, good.
As when trolls like don't like me and go, like, you're annoying. I'm like, yeah, I know.
I got it.
You're not telling me anything I don't know.
I live with me. I get it.
You got that clip? Are we waiting on it?
My clip is doing math.
Here we go.
Sex joke. I'm not good at it. Like you young millennials.
Sorry, stand by.
Tammy, what have you done?
Well, that's the most embarrassing clip in the world, too. It's not the joke. It's just that the social media guy decided, this young 24-year-old kid decided that he was going to cut my clips into, interesting 1-minute things. And he puts all these little eggplants and peaches and squirts.
Don't do that.
I'm like, I don't, if that's what makes you watch that thing, I don't want you to like my comedy.
Is it supposed to be a cock and balls?
Look, and a squirt.
Oh, boy.
There's
Those are droplets.
right.
I kind of feel like your comedy probably speaks for itself. We don't need the extras.
I don't even like to put the words on it. If you're too stupid to hear me, when they all put the words on it now, I'm tired of pandering to the masses. I don't care.
Weird. It's a weird thing. Like I was talking to. It's weird when people don't know comedians or don't know who people are. Like I was talking to a comedian and they said, "Oh, I'm doing a show," and the person that's putting the show up because it's so close to Halloween wants all the comedians to show up in outfits.
Oh boy!
And I'm like, don't they know comedians are the last people in the world who fuck? First off, they're the laziest people on the planet, and then secondly, don't you kind of know they don't really feel like doing a set in an outfit,
Vampire costume.
Should have worn a race suit.
It's one of my, I literally am writing a book called Death by Paper Cuts because I'm the person who suffers like the biggest indignities, but just kind of soldiers on, like
weird graphics on the front of your stand-up.
And I can't even pull it down because it got some decent hits. So if I take it down now, I'm a jerk.
So it's a beginning of emoji, a graphic or something of a peach, which looks like a
butt or balls.
My husband.
And then there's a eggplant sticking out, which kind of looks like a cock.
That's the universal symbol.
You got
days.
The peach. Oh, really? Don't do the banana anymore?
And the peach is supposed to be like the ass, and if it's a cat, it's a vagina.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then there's drops of what?
It's skeet.
I think it's I don't even tell dirty jokes, so let alone I want to talk about it in cartoon form.
But what I'm saying is there is no world where this guy cuts this stuff up and throws it up there with no graphics, and you get back to him and go, "Where's the cock and balls eggplant thing? Come on now." I'm a 53-year-old woman. You think you're going to sneak this past me? I got 10 bays open right now. Those fucking guys are better at graphics than you are. Like, you would never say this.
It's horrible. It's horrible. It's literally, the whole thing is crazy anymore. I came from this meeting today, and they go, "How many followers do you have on your socials?" And I'm like, "It's public record. Go look it up." Yeah. Why if you didn't it's not hidden. It's not escape room comedy.
Hit up your Twitter.
But that's been the biggest part.
Where are you performing here in this clip, by the way?
Montreal Comedy Festival.
I don't know why this keeps running through my head, because we're going to San Diego. We'll be there tonight and tomorrow as you hear this at Mic Drop Comedy. But one of the times, speaking of this, and I don't know why it keeps running my head, I'm an asshole, but remember when we were there about 6-7 years ago, we're sitting backstage, and my old assistant, a guy I love named Jay, comes back. He has a big plate of wings, buffalo chicken wings, like hot wings, and he presents them to me, and he goes, "I know how much you love wings, boss." And I go, "I've never ordered wings in my life."
But Jay likes wings.
I've never ordered them. And you're my assistant. I've ordered a million things with you. You did the ordering. I've never ordered wings. I've never ordered them. And he's like, "I thought you liked wings." I was like, I'm okay with them.
I don't hate them.
And I'm still glad you brought them. But never.
Yeah.
I don't know how. You love a cock and balls made of a yam,
it's
right?
So crazy.
Like, don't you?
Of course. That's my T-shirts.
These were breaded wings too, which I was like, oh,
even better.
No. But I was like,
that's where I draw the line.
I love the guy. I wouldn't have brought wings to anyone, so he's better than I am. But I'm still like, we sat next to each other for hours and years together, and I've never ordered wings. Has anyone here ever seen me order wings?
We never talk about wings,
Not
except
once.
remember the
Now
wing
you're
bowl.
going to get them everywhere, though, because you said it on the air. So now everybody's going to bring you wings.
Not since my buddy Ray said, "You say dude all the time." Has there somebody been I never say dude, and I've never said, "Dude, let's get some wings." It's never passed.
I wanted to tell you the story you said about comics dressing up, right? So one day, I live in Northwest PA, so I'd lived 40 minutes from this comedy club that was notorious about if you said any bad words, they'd throw you off stage, right? It was called Juniors. I'll tell it because they suck, and those people suck. And I was filling in. Gary Goldman had a chance, this is years ago, to open for Louis C.K., and he called me, and he knew that I only lived about 40 minutes away, and he said, "Will you cover for me?" It was my first weekend off. My kid was young. It was Halloween, and I was like, I really don't want to, but it was a really big deal for him to go open at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought that you got to do
For
your friend
Louis.
a solid. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is
Okay.
a long time ago. Like Gary's got his own thing now, but so I go in and I show up again. This is a club that doesn't even have an MC. You fill out the form, did you like it, and get on the mailing list, and then they will pull your name for you to be the host.
Oh boy!
In the next week, right? It's notorious. You can always tell when they don't respect the comic too, because there's no green room. You're sitting in the office.
No hot wings in the green room.
Yeah, that's the wings. So we're waiting for the show to start because the MC isn't there, right? And I go, what are we waiting for, the dentist's assistant? And this lady shows up, and she's got a butterfly costume on, right? And she gets on stage, and she sits on the stool, and she's got these long bulbous breasts that look like those eggplants on my clip. And they literally went either side of her knee, and she was going on, and she started reading poetry. Oh, boy. Yeah, for real. Over here, she'd probably be famous. But afterwards, she got off stage, and she said, I'll see you next show. I go, not, and I said this on stage. I go, not in that costume, you won't, right? And then she got mad and left the room. And I proceeded to, because me and everybody else we're like, what the hell is that? Like, we just started talking about her. They fired me. They called my agent, tried to get me fired from my agent, all for picking up a shift from Gary. I go, the butterfly lady almost killed my career while he's over there in Madison Square Garden with Louis C.K. And I have this, this lady from some leprechaun world. Just
no good.
She wasn't a comedian?
No, they don't hire, the MCs are not comedians. That's what they did. They don't own it anymore. They sold it. But it's just always that little things that always got me, I'm the person who blew the deal at HBO because I made fun of the president of HBO in the end of the meeting. I mean, it was 2005 and it was big Sopranos time, and I was supposed to do a 3-episode arc in a half hour.
On The Sopranos.
I had the HBO half hour and development deal. It was a really big deal, and they were doing the last thing. And I had these great managers. They were Robin Williams, Billy Crystal's managers. And we're sitting there, and there's the head of HBO and all these people. And we're all going through it and making everybody laugh because, and he sits back and he puts his head up and he puts his feet on the table. And the president goes, "You have any questions for me?" And he had these hideous socks, these purple paisley plaid. And I just go, "Yeah, what lost to those socks?" I go, "How freaking ugly could the socks in the drawer be that you reached over to put those socks on?" And he got so, everybody was dying. My manager, there was tears running down his face, and he got out and walked out, the president, and I go, "What?" And he goes, "It's not going to happen." My manager goes, "It's not going to happen." A month later, he hit his girlfriend in Vegas and got fired.
Oh,
really?
I think he had
it all worked out.
I think he had some kind of
Probably
issue.
put a bar of soap in one of those socks and swung it around.
But that's the kind of stuff that you get into when you're like, oh, why don't you have a better career? Because you get in your own way sometimes.
But you're a comedian. The comedian's comedy. That you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Why don't you have a better career? Is a pretty good. It's a compliment.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Like last night I went to do a set at the Improv, and this kid who's running the room goes, "Yeah, so should I say anything? Do you have any credits?" No. No, don't. And then he goes, "I think you're supposed to do 5 minutes." I go, "No, I think I have a pop in. It said 10. And oh, okay. And then I get off stage, and he goes, "Wow, that was really great. How long have you been doing it?" I go, "It's my first time." And I walked away.
Good for you.
Now that kid's probably going to run a network, and
I think should have a better career is a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
It suggests you're funnier than your bank account would
Probably.
dictate. And I've always said the most overpaid actor in Hollywood, they do that all the time.
Should
where
be
they
laughing
go,
all the way to the bank.
"This guy made $121 million, but the box office was only 40. Genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I was that guy. That's awesome.
If I got cast on stuff, it's always me and the person who gets the gig. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I love stand-up. I would probably do it for the rest of my life because now I've done it for so long. I'll probably find a way to do it for as long. I remember seeing Rodney at the end, and his wife was telling him his jokes in the earpiece. It was so cute.
The blonde flower lady?
Yeah, the one that he had to buy the hot tub.
Yeah.
And they had to lift it up over.
Had to crane it up to like the 9th floor of the condo on Wilshire.
God. Yeah, and
she was a florist who had giant oversized flowers like from the rainforest.
Wow.
Rodney's blonde last wife. We've looked her up
her
before.
name is...
We will.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Wait, I want to play this clip we've been talking about.
I don't think it's worth it. I think you shouldn't play it. I think you should do like
should.
Letterman did and just never play, like when he would announce comics and then never actually let them on the show.
Oh, yeah, we'd get bumped all the time. Yeah, Jimmy got bumped first time on Letterman. Or maybe twice even. All right, here it is.
I'm so embarrassed to even tell a sex joke. I'm not good at it. Like, you young millennials, it's all sex to you. Threesomes. Get out of here. You do what you want, but if there was another woman in bed with us, I'd be like, you got this covered? Because I got stuff to do. I'm busy. I'm a grown woman. I'm not trying to trick you.
See, not really worth it.
Yeah.
No, it's a good joke, but that was so distracting.
For people who are listening, there were lower
cues.
thirds. With no context.
It was a coach.
It was a basketball coach.
A Final Four
clapping.
coach. I can't remember his name now. I was
Jim
just like,
Behan?
no. Well, I said at least you could have done is given me a Bobby Knight, like a crazy person. Like, don't give me.
It was a visual representation of what you were saying, although it drew your your gaze down and sort of bumped you. And
yeah, it's okay. It's those. I can't do that. I have to just do it myself. Like, it's worked all this time to whatever degree. Not great, but if that's the clip with all that stuff that takes me over the edge, I'll just kill myself. I don't think it's worth it to sacrifice that. I have to live like a sex cartoon. It doesn't even make sense. It's like
we have the Rolls-Royce salesman.
Oh, nice.
By the way. Oh, they blotted him out.
Look, it's another cartoon.
Maybe your guy did.
Well, that might be for legal reasons.
Yeah, sorry.
Go for it.
All right, so the question of the day, can you steal the spirit of ecstasy from a Rolls Royce?
All right.
Well, I say no.
Oh, nice job, dipshit.
What a shit.
And then the door closes. The hatch.
What a jackass. That's like taking a picture of an Amish person and stealing their soul. He ruined it right there.
That's right,
completely.
devil boxes.
Yeah, you got to wonder. Yeah, they will reattach the spirit of ecstasy, but at some point, that car's going full Chappaquiddick because you fucked up the mojo. You've slapped. You've slapped the spirit of ecstasy in the face, and that car's going to have bad juju and mojo.
Oh boy,
bad juju.
And it's going to have the
mojo.
title.
Mojo.
Bad mojo.
Delicious.
Mojo.
Mojo and
beef
juju
is delicious.
I think that's what got Kanye in trouble, so I don't think you should.
The spirit of ecstasy. Oh, I said juju. Mojo.
The mojo.
Yeah.
Tammy, you live in Pennsylvania. Do you have a lot of run-ins with the Amish?
Oh my God. You know what? I hate them. And I don't care if you tell them. I hope they
They're not gonna hear
protest
this.
me.
Yeah.
They might. You just never know because they do roofs. You know, and some
a lot of framing and stuff, I think.
And I talk about
they're
them
big woodworkers.
all the time. I've heard you talk about like how people don't have to pick up their horse poop, you know, like when they're riding in the Amish don't. You get your car washed and they'll be riding out there.
Look, I've said a million times, I live off a horse trail.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's not just a horse trail. You cross the paved street to go to the other side of wherever it defecates is where it shall be.
And they leave it.
If you had a dachshund or a chihuahua and you were walking and that dog made a miniature-sized poop, size of a caterpillar, you would be the shunned in the neighborhood if you did not clean up after that dog.
Yeah, you got to show it like this with the HOA ladies.
And you don't get to ride your pet.
No.
They get to ride their pet, and then their horse just shit everywhere. And sometimes it's in the street, and sometimes you'll drive your car through it or something like. No problemo.
At least those people where you live aren't Amish and they pay taxes. Over here by me, when the whole world was arguing over who's getting the vaccination and who's not, I'm standing in a line behind a whole family of Amish people at a Walmart that haven't been vaccinated for smallpox or polio. Like they're just annoying people, and sorry.
But they make great butter and jam.
Are they your target demographic?
We're big in the Amish community.
We're kind of Quaker shaker, but
more shaker than Quaker.
There's some
I feel
Amish
better.
in our fan base as
Listen,
well.
I've been canceled before. I'll do it again.
Well, can we just go? Look, they figured it out at Central Park. They put the little catch diaper basket on the back of the horse, right?
Right.
Okay. You can't drive your car with no license plate on it, or if the turn signal indicator doesn't. We got a lot of rules. No riding your horse in a residential area without the catch diaper.
That's it.
How about that?
Fair.
It's easy.
Is that a big issue?
I'm surprised
You got
it's
to
not
join
already
that HOA, though, that I'm sure you live in, that sends letters if you use too much water.
I'm not an HOA.
Well, somebody should take you. You should run for it.
Well,
create your own.
Mark Garagos lives in the neighborhood, and I bet he could draft a threatening letter to the ladies on the horses.
Yeah, you should do that.
It's all women, and also they're enjoying the shit out of their life. I'm going to work.
It's so annoying.
You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing worse than we got a flight out of Burbank. It's the Southwest. There's a layover in Phoenix, and you're just riding your horse right down my street.
That's what
Not
pisses
a
me
care
off.
in the fucking world.
That's what pisses me off about at the airport when I see people with pillows. Like, you are obviously enjoying your trip. I have to go talk to morons in some BS town who some of them know me. They're
bitch
dying.
dresses a butterfly,
So
saggy tits.
crazy.
And also, why are you riding this horse through my neighborhood? Because you are going walking speed. I've never seen anyone galloping or even moving any faster than you walk. The horse just
possibly slower.
Slower. I think if somebody was in decent shape and had a little purpose, they would blow right by the horse. So what is this great joy? It's not transportation. You're fucking mocking us non-horse people.
No, I think they're first wives. That's what they have to come up with reasons to spend the money. So I don't think it's a... I definitely think that's the First Wives Club by you over there, where they just First Wives have the most ridiculous things. They join the cults the most. They do the horses. They have the most plastic surgery. Sorry, I don't care anymore. I don't care.
A lot of pyramid schemes.
All of it. They're just so annoying. Those are women, as much as who cares? They annoy the hell out of me in my shows because it's always the first wife who's too old to strip that gets loud in my shows. It's never like a nice person.
The loudest,
never too old.
Exactly.
The loudest chicks are the formerly hot. Now they're a little too long in the tooth to be considered a commodity on the market. But when they get a few boozes in them, they go back to their 23-year-old, everyone in the room wants to fuck me prime. And they just start talking. And there does not need to be a rhyme or a reason. No. And what it is when you're a hot chick, you go your entire life without anyone go, hey, bitch, zip it.
Yeah.
Just shut up.
Never heard
no
those
one wants to
words.
hear your fucking
Never-
thoughts.
Never heard
I've
those
been told
words.
to shut up my entire life. I'm so used to it. I've either been ignored or actively shut down.
Yeah.
When you're a hot 23-year-old chick, you coast through your whole life.
Your whole
Has
life's a
anyone-
TED Talk.
And then you get 53 and you can't be quiet for 40 minutes to allow another woman to say anything.
And then you end up like fucking Heidi Klum, which is you just say shit and everyone, because people have been nodding their whole
Well, that's
life at
'cause
you.
nobody understands
Rap
her.
to the
She's
true.
beautiful, and we
But do
didn't
you think
realize
anyone
we
has
couldn't
ever-
understand her.
But when
until
Heidi
now.
Klum was 13 or 23 or 17, you think everyone went, shh.
Oh, God, no.
Hey, zip it, honey.
Yeah,
The smart people are fucking talking. to you
Tell
for a
me
second.
more, Heidi.
You can learn
Frau
a thing or
Heidi.
two.
Oh, they're just all fucking ears.
Yeah.
People pretend, and also everyone's an enabler when you're young and hot, because not only are they young and hot, and they're just shooting out their trash. Everyone is agreeing with them. You know, guys or physicists are going, I do think my cat thinks it's a person. You're right. I never thought about that. We're aiding and abetting your fucking horrible ideas. Then at some point, you're 56, you're drunk, and you're at the club we're performing at, and there's things.
Yeah,
More
and
ideas.
I'm
More
paying,
things flying from your mouth.
I'm paying my mortgage this way. I left my kid. I'm sleeping in a hotel that my shoulder
got 10
hurts.
bays.
I got
got freight
stuff
jobs to do on.
I have things to do. I have to support my family. I have to leave to deal with you, and it's just not going to happen. And this, it's constant like that. And like when I saw the Will Smith stuff, I'm like, do you think that's new? That's not new. This has been happening. The difference is, my life has not worked out the way I thought it would. Like, I will hit you. If you get on stage, you should try to kill me, because if I wake up at all, I'll come to your house. I don't want to deal with this stuff anymore, but
Sounds like a great show.
I think, yes, I'm so happy.
Tim will be at
You
the
should
Laugh
see.
Factory.
The laugh.
Try
Guess
her.
what? We're almost sold out in all those Vegas shows. We're almost
Nice.
sold out in Cleveland. And then you go to other places and you sold 42 tickets. And they look at you and go, Aziz Ansari came here and sold it all out. Well, there are a billion of his people. I don't have, I can't.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, how many paisans are floating around Cleveland?
They're not coming to see me. There's a ton, but they're going to see Sebastian, not me.
Oh, yeah.
You know, everybody talks to me as if there's only one Italian comic allowed at a time. Like it was Pat Cooper and Dom and Father Guido and Sebastian.
Herrera?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's how I know the Rodney story, because Dom, I'm telling you, I had this crazy life, but Dom had me show up at Greenblatt's one day. He was like one of my besties, and he knew how much I love Rodney. And Rodney was there just talking, and I just
Greenblatt's
sat there.
next to the Laugh Factory?
Yeah. And I just sat there and heard these Rodney stories. And when I come from a small town where everybody is cool, but they didn't really think outside of the box. I couldn't even tell anybody that story for years until I had at least been on television a couple times because they wouldn't believe you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even tell. My father understood all that stuff, but.
They like football and cars.
Yeah, that's what he likes.
That's a dad.
Yeah.
That's a dude dad.
Yeah, that was my dad. He was a big guy.
All right, let me tell you. Oh, and he played ball, too. Let me tell you about Next Evo Naturals. Ever wonder if your CBD is working? Well, if you're wondering that, probably means it wasn't working. So let's get some Next Evo Naturals. Developed Smart Sorb, by the way, technology clinically proven to help your body absorb CBD 4 times better and faster than regular CBD oil. I know Brian's been hitting the Next Evo. Helping with the sleep, Brian?
Yeah, man, I take it for sleep. And Gary and Emmy handed me a bottle and said, oh, there's a new sponsor. Check it out. I'm like, all right, give you an honest review. They have their capsules are CBD and melatonin. What's the stuff that helps you sleep? It's a nice little combo. Effective, keeps you like you don't wake up with halfway through the night. It's a good little gig.
Well, they have triple action CBD sleep, and it helps you get more refreshing sleep, and you can do it naturally. Fast acting, Smart Sorb CBD calms your mind. Fast acting melatonin gets you to sleep fast. Plus, a controlled release melatonin helps you sleep longer. It is Next Evo Naturals. Am I right, Dawson?
Get a better night's rest and a better day tomorrow with products from Next Evo Naturals. For up to 25% off subscription orders of $40 or more, use promo code Adam at nextevo.com. That's NEXTEVO.com, promo code Adam.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Tammy's going to hang out. We'll do the news right after this.
We're going to start off with this story because if we don't, we'll never hear the end of it, and we have to move on from it. And thank you to everyone who's tweeted it to us over and over again. An Iranian man who received global attention for his lack of bathing for more than 60 years has been dubbed the world's dirtiest man. He's died, but at the ripe old age, and I do mean ripe, 94 years old. But there's a little bit of a catch.
He vacated the crown?
That's right.
Good
Abu
news.
Haji, and we have a picture in case you haven't seen him. Definitely look him up. He was homeless his entire life, hadn't bathed.
What are the odds?
Since 1955. He did not believe in soap. He thought it made him sick. And he may have been right, because just a few months before he died, the locals finally convinced him for the first time in his life to bathe himself.
That's what did it.
And in addition to his lack of bathing, he also survived on a diet of roadkill, dirty water, and would smoke like animal shit in a pipe. Despite this, doctors said he was in tip-top shape, in really good health. He'd been featured in many news publications over the years. His life was chronicled in a documentary called The Strange Life of Abu Haji, and everything was going swimmingly. And then he washed off all the bacteria and couldn't make it.
When they say, real quick, tip-top shape, do they mean tip-top shape for a guy in his 90s who has not showered and who smokes poop?
That's a good question.
Look where he lives.
Yeah.
Look over there. They probably don't even have. They probably took. That's probably a sketch. That's probably not even a picture. There's no people over there. They have nobody to compare.
No
it
disrespect here, Tammy, but how much to blow this guy? Same question to Gina. No disrespect.
Wait.
No
now
disrespect.
at 53. It depends on how many development deals. Does he run a net? No, I'm just kidding. I don't think you. First of all,
It's got to be some amount.
I hate to tell you this, but his dick is stuck to the side of his. It's grown in like a dog with a collar in the Bahamas, and it's how it grows in. You can't find it.
Can't do it.
Yeah, if Steve Jobs had the world on a string and couldn't stay alive because he didn't have his health, there's no way we would survive this.
But
it's not worth it.
Oh, us?
You and I wouldn't survive the blowjob.
What if his?
We would have syphilis. It
What
would
if
just
his
be the beginning.
sperm was the cure to look young? Was the fountain of youth?
Oh, then
move over.
Bathe me in his jizz, but I doubt that completely.
Please, Gina, why are you bringing it there?
That's what my sister-in-law is doing. Apparently, looking for the fountain of youth from.
I'll join in on this. Are we sucking his dick to completion, or just putting our mouth on it?
Well, look, it's
Wait a
just
second.
blow the guy.
You
just
would
a point of
just
pride.
put your mouth on it? Are you in this game? Because are we playing fantasy?
He's
dick
throwing
sucking?
his mouth in the
Because
ring.
I think
the
that
money's right.
All right, so this guy. Well, the reason everyone tweets me is because I don't use soap or shampoo, not a regular wiper downer.
Oh boy, is that his dick?
He's got he looks like Tex Cobb from Raising Arizona.
Yes, he did the bounty hunter.
The bounty hunter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's the poop pipe.
There's a poop
Look
pipe.
at that.
So there is a thing, lots of antibiotics, lots of Purell, lots of sterilization is creating lots of weird gut stuff, and everyone is having issues with the flora and fauna and bacteria and all that kind of stuff. So there's a direct correlation between the Amish have indoor-outdoor pets, and they play a lot in the hay, and they get dirty, and they get around, and they don't have...
And incest.
They don't have
I think it's also the incest.
They don't have allergies.
Strengthen you.
Yeah, I think that's it.
The Amish people don't have allergies because they're
I did
out
see a
in the
blue
world.
Amish lady. She had a silver poisoning.
Oh, that's
And
silver
she walks around
colloidal.
she walks around our town and she's blue. She looks like a
That's real.
Smurf for real.
There's an old,
Never heard
I
of
want to
it.
say Donahue clip of the blue guy from he got colloidal poisoning.
The Navi?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It can be found.
It's fun when you have a kid.
So the balance, what you'd like for your kid is easy on the antibiotics, easy on the Purell, easy on all this rubbing and scrubbing and all the fucking shit that Procter & Gamble's trying to sell us to make a bunch of money, convincing us we're gross and weird and dirty if we don't do it, but with some base level of societal acceptance.
Before we get to Festus.
Before we get to this.
Yeah.
Right. So that's...
I'd like to think we all fall somewhere in there.
Do the least amount possible, everybody.
Well done, sir.
I think you see Randall Tex Cobb there?
He was especially hard on the little things.
Yeah.
Looks like those cavemen that got a show over
The Geico,
me.
The Geico caveman.
1 year with NBC.
Not everyone who gets a show is over you.
They did.
That's
for
a
sure.
That's a different demo. All right, sorry.
I was
what
up
else
for
we
that
got?
caveman.
Another sad and sort of interesting death, especially given our business. A British radio host died while live on air during a breakfast morning show on Monday. Tim Goff, who hosted the morning show on Radio Gen X, this is in Great Britain, is suspected to have had a heart attack at 7:50 a.m. while presenting the show from his home in England. Gen X Radio Suffolk said they released all this in a news release. Goff was 55. Music playing on the station stopped for several minutes as he was
Dead air,
having
right?
an issue.
Well, the movie's going to be called
He's
Dead
fired
Air.
for sure.
Yeah.
The radio
Fired for
station's
sure.
managing director said that Goff had been on the radio since 1980s and in another twist of fate had come out of retirement to host one last show.
Don't do it.
Wasn't there a female radio show host like out of the Netherlands that like had sex on the air? We were telling that story like
That
2
sounds
years
familiar.
ago.
Yeah, I think I remember.
Tammy,
yeah.
you did mornings? You
Yes,
did
that was
news?
me.
No,
that was me
not
in
you.
the Netherlands. I'm
You
huge.
blew
over
that old guy covered
Yeah,
in
that's
soot.
right. I picked that on my fantasy dick sucking team.
You did that blow a chimney sweep.
No, the funny thing about that is that's always a fear. Wasn't there a comic too that died on stage?
Dick Shawn.
Is that who it was?
Yeah.
It all goes back to dicks.
It was Dick Shawn. I don't think it was Dick Gautier, but I think it was Dick Shawn who died on stage. And then it was Albert Brooks' dad was a comedian called Park McKeister or something like that. And
Park your carcass.
Park your
Park
carcass.
my
That was a character he did.
Park your carcass.
Yeah. I kind of like Park Your Keister
I
better.
like
but,
Park Your Keister.
Park my car.
It's open
Anyway.
for you, in case.
Dick Shawn had a heart attack on stage in San Diego, so we'll be there tonight. Yeah. And Park Your Carcass is the Albert Brooks' dad, Super Dave's dad, who died on stage as well.
And they don't do anything for you. They just let you lay there because they think it's part of your act.
That's right. They don't flash the light.
If you die, first off, that butterfly lady with the saggy boobs, she'd be laughing her ass off. If
Sure.
She's
To me, I know that every time I'm super hard trolled, I'm sure she's behind it.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
Oh, that's
I think that the one nice thing about me is that even my haters are loyal. I think they have followed me for decades.
Yeah.
Didn't Todd Glass have a heart attack on stage?
Who?
Todd
Glass.
Oh,
This is
I think there was
7 years ago.
Comedian Todd Glass. Yeah, he was performing at the God.
I don't remember the details.
I do know where it was.
Heather McDonald passed out.
No, his situation was he was like smoking pot after the show with Jeff Ross and started to sweat and
Thought
kind
he
of
was having a
speed
heart
up
attack.
or whatever.
Okay.
And
That's what I'm
Jeff
seeing
said
there.
you should go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. Park Your Carcass died during a Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz roast.
boy.
Largo is
That'll
where the
show 'em.
club I was trying to think of. Yeah.
I love those old roasts.
Yeah.
I like the old ones, like the
Friars Club.
Yeah, I think I wish I was. I mean, it still would have been even harder. I think I'd have probably have to done Ruth Buzzy's act, but I wish I was part of that time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry that I missed that when people were actually friends and did the roasts and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah. You're an old soul.
Yeah, I'm an old broad too, so it matches finally.
Your soul is caught up to your driver's license.
It's so funny that you said you almost had an arc on Sopranos, which is my favorite show of all time. Because when you're talking about the 10 bay car garage, I'm like, you're Angie Bompancero from the Sopranos.
Well, then
It's
people
real.
always think that I'm like a Positraction from my cousin Vinny. My biological clock.
Sure.
But
No.
I don't know. I should probably do something with that, but I got too much going on.
That's a good problem. Well, speaking of too much going on, I'm sick of talking about it, but it keeps happening. Kanye showed up uninvited to the Skechers headquarters Wednesday in Manhattan Beach, California, on the heels of Adidas cutting ties with him and his comments. And a spokesperson for the company, which is owned by a Jewish family, I'm sure you've seen, if you're ever on the Strand in Manhattan Beach, you've seen their compound. I mean, their houses are
the Skechers?
insane. Yeah, the Skechers family live right on the Strand, or at least that's one of their houses.
I'm an LA gear man, so I don't really go that direction.
I'm a zips.
So they were, he said, considering Kanye was engaged in unauthorized filming, two Skechers executives escorted him and his party from the building after a brief conversation and added, Skechers is not considering and has no intention of working with West. We condemn his recent divisive remarks and do not tolerate anti-Semitism or any other hate speech.
It'd be a good movie idea, which is, there's influencers, and recently, I think, I think Kim Kardashian got into trouble because she was talking about some cryptocurrency, and she didn't point out that this was a commercial, and so we have she got $250,000 for sending out a tweet or something. She's an influencer. But in this movie idea, we have somebody get into a lot of trouble. It's sort of the opposite influencer. It's a corporate thing where instead of tweeting out, "I love your product," you get yourself into some trouble. Make fun of the Jews in the movie. Sure. We could go Mexican, we could go Jew, we'll go Puerto Rican.
Plenty of options.
You make fun of the Puerto Ricans.
Amish. We'll go with Amish.
Don't have a strong lobby.
We need a color here.
Okay, all right.
Not just no mustache.
They're blue.
You make fun. Now we pay you to then come to our business, and then we make proclamations where your hate is not welcome
That's
here.
good.
You know what I mean? So he goes to all He goes to Puma next.
That's good.
And then we pay him $250,000 to shun him.
They probably did set up a meeting.
Who knows?
That's such a good idea because do you know how I found out about this story originally? Everybody on Instagram congratulating Skechers. I was like, what did Skechers do?
They don't even have a T in their name.
Yes.
It's very
we
confusing.
shunned this bad person, and then we
smart.
come off like a hero.
Yeah.
He could attempt to want to come on to my podcast, and I could shun him.
Hey, he's not welcome here.
Shun him.
Well,
he wants to go into a Subway and get a foot long.
Oh, please.
Shunned.
Well, let's highlight a few other of the famous shunners. He's now lost CAA, his agent, Balenciaga. Peloton won't play his music anymore during their rides. Vogue and TJ Maxx. That's the entire span
The
of
max
retail.
for the minimum, lay down the law.
Thank you. Between TJ Maxx and Balenciaga, that's everybody.
First of all, I'm sorry.
Well, so when it comes to this stuff, it's fine. Won't play his music for Peloton. I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what it means, but some of it is just,
grandstanding.
But his Donda Academy basketball team has been canceled. They can't go out and get in front of college recruiters and stuff.
How good do you think that they were? Let's really lay that down, okay?
Well, a couple of them, it's the Scholastic Play-by-Play Classics, and it LeBron and Kobe and Kevin Durant all came out of it. And it's like a really big deal, and now those kids are persona non grata.
Well, look. His mom, he named it after his mom.
Who died from plastic surgery.
If we had an academy named after my mom, it probably wouldn't be a great team.
Right.
But his mom,
my mom,
it's a pretty good looking squad. I've seen a picture of them. The whole point is they're young guys trying to get a scholarship. We don't like Kanye, but why are we fucking with their future?
Yeah.
I don't think we have to shun everything all the time.
Didn't Kanye close the school? I only saw the headlines.
I don't know.
That I don't know.
They're fighting Oprah's school. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to go play Oprah's school.
Who else would have done it? There's no outside agency can close the school. They're just.
It's not even an
It's
accredited
no
school.
cancelization on a guy who's already a billionaire. You know who got canceled? Me. That sucked. I
How'd
lost
you get
everything.
canceled?
Somebody kept lifting. I'll just say it. So there was a comic who keeps lifting people's jokes. It was at a time in 2016. And a bunch of people said something, and I was the loudest. I was the last and the loudest because I'm a moron and I'm Italian and I'm loud. And I said, we want you to do well. Just do it with your own material. And then I also made a joke, which I would get canceled right now. So turn down everything that you're listening. But at the time, it was funny. 2016, before the Me Too, I said at least Cosby knocked his victims out before he raped them. And it was hysterical. I'm a comic, right? I'm trying to make light.
Sure.
Well, that person was the number one movie, number one TV show. You just lose to whoever had the bigger PR person. She tried to sue me.
Amy Schumer's, who we're talking about.
Yeah, I lost my agent. I was thrown out of my agency, my manager. Gigs were taken away. Cosby threatened to sue me. It was horrible. All for going, hey. And then, but dude, it still was my material. It was like the reverse of when you call something out.
Okay, couple things. We talk about this all the time. Henry Winkler's a super nice guy. He's a reputation as a nice guy. Kevin Smith's an asshole or whatever. But I'm trying to think of who has a reputation as being prickly. Well, Bill Cosby had a reputation being prickly and kind of shitty. And
right.
So the point is this. Is there such a thing as being that without engaging in it? Could one get a reputation? Could one get known for stealing material without stealing material? There's comedians that go, that person lifts some material and that person lifts some material.
Not in this day and age, because there was video footage of it. But the problem is that it became personal because it was women. I think it was they made it like a chick fight. When I became a comic, it was about setting that down. Those girls posed naked on their album cover. I was wearing 2 bras when I started. You know what I mean?
Right.
We were comics, not chicks. So I think it was just, and it was never meant to be something big. And then even when you say, I'm sorry I got involved, the PR people shorten it to Pescatelli apologizes.
Oy vey.
Right.
So you can't get a word out. You just have to shut up and go to work.
How did you become aware of this?
It was happening over the years. She came and opened for me for like 3 weeks one time, and then I would notice it as the climb came, and it was cool. Like things happen like that, and the onset of social media, other people who like you tell you that's your, and it's it's not that we all have generic concepts that are the same. Okay, some people have a repressed memory, right, with jokes, with molestation, who knows what it is. But when they say it, and this was told to me by like an Academy Award-winning writer, he goes, no one says it in the exact same way. There are 300,000 books on dinosaurs, and no one says it in the same way. So we kept trying, reach out, call, sorry, email, sorry. Finally, it ends up other people went in on a tweet, and I just kind of popped in like a big loudmouth. It wasn't even my fight to fight. And then it ended up being me because I was the easiest target. I was at home with my kid, in Pennsylvania, and the blue Amish lady. So, but it was a weird thing, but it just made me, I love stand-up. So I just keep writing, and you couldn't trick. You couldn't. I still worked. You can't.
Is Amy? Was she just taking your material?
Not just mine, like 1 or 2 jokes from me, but it was like. It was a compilation. At the very least, it's been said, like, I don't think she was taking anything consciously. I don't think she was sitting in the back of the room. I think she got really big. I think she probably had writers who probably sold it to her in a way, seeing other people. How many of your jokes have ended up in memes, right? Like, that's what and I think that maybe... Who knows? I don't know where it comes from, but it was like...
This is where it ended up.
In the old days, you used to be able to say that without it being a war. But I think,
Amy Schumer kind of weirdly positioned herself as a woman who struggles for all women or something.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm a little chubby, but I'm still getting into this cocktail dress. Just this weird... It's weird for a comedian to... take on a sort of oppressed role or a slightly kind of victim thing. It's kind of, she's kind of has a weird victim-y vibe, but she's definitely, I don't know.
I know it's hard.
Kathy Griffin, people didn't feel sorry for. She came across like aggressive and, they're people, comedians who come on. Her persona was a little like, I'm kind of fighting for women. So when you pick on her, you're picking on all women who are 20 pounds overweight.
Well, and maybe that was it, but also it was bigger publicists, quite frankly.
Oh, yeah. There's always that.
And literally, at first, it was Wendy Liebman who had the first thing that she said on the Twitter because it was her joke. Right. The second joke was Kathleen Madigan's. The other one was somebody else's. And then I jumped in on the 4th position. So it's just another time that my big mouth got me in trouble. It was the paisley plaid socks. It's just another time where I said something to the wrong person and, ended up back out in Omaha telling jokes, which is fine. I like Omaha.
All right, one more.
All right,
Gina Grad.
Let's see what we got. Well, this is a fun one. Pope Francis.
I wonder if anyone's been burned where they're like, I'm going to steal Carlos Mencia's act, and then you realize you're stealing someone else's act.
Really in trouble.
Well, this will probably, I don't even know why I brought it up, because I'll probably get re-canceled again. That'll probably, so you're just going to have to help me.
Let's do it anyway.
I'll probably get canceled.
For talking about that.
No,
or sued at least again.
No, you're safe.
You're safe.
Let's talk about Pope Francis for a hot second. He admitted that priests and nuns watch internet porn. He did that while speaking to Sumerians in Rome on Monday. He said internet porn was a vice shared between members of the church. He said it is a vice that many people have, many laymen, many lay women, and also priests and nuns. He's 85, by the way.
I don't like progressive Pope.
This is a
Me
cool Pope.
either.
I don't like cool Pope.
And he gets into all of it. He says the devil gets in the way. And I'm not just talking about criminal pornography like that involving the abuse of children. That's already degeneration. But pornography that is normal. Catholic priests and nuns are forbidden from watching porn, with the Catechism defining sexual imagery as an offense against chastity.
So is this progressive Pope or old school Pope?
Well, I mean, it's like he's acknowledging that it exists. Is that a thing?
It's like when I found that water-soluble lube in my grandmother's medicine cabinet. I get it. You're a woman. You have your needs.
Yeah. You'd rather not know.
I don't want to like sit on Santa's lap and have him fart. And then say what he ate. I ate kebabs.
Yeah.
I want him to be Santa.
Yeah.
And I just want the Pope to be the Pope, and then I'm done. I don't need anything from him. When they start talking about stuff like this, it feels too intimate.
It's a sliding scale of Catholicism lately. I just think that there are some definite, he's the Pope of lobbyists. Clearly, I don't know if there still is a Vivid, but Vivid contributed to his
Vivid porn
campaign.
You're not a fan of this one?
No, he's not a fun one anyway. Yeah. I don't think anybody's going to him. You're going to go to that dude for absolution? When you know that he's probably jerking off in the back room?
That's what we're talking about, exactly.
He is infallible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not kissing that ring. Who knows where it's been?
Oh, you look down at the robe and you see there's teeth marks at the bottom of it. You know what I mean?
Eggplant.
You can't beat off in that robe.
There's an eggplant and a peach thing on the back of his robe.
You get a chin strap for that hat. There's no way you can rub one out.
I think we're coming back to the same theme, quite frankly, this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it all comes back to
We have a theme.
I like this. Let me know what is. I don't know what day this is, but let me know when you guys do ass wiping. When I want to be here for Poop Wednesday.
I like Poop Wednesday.
Yeah.
You want me to bring it home?
Yeah, let's talk to the poop.
Let's do it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Dude, let's get some wings.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.
Well, we're going to be at Mic Drop Comedy tonight, doing live pod there, and tomorrow night, and then we'll do I'll do a stand-up show there as well for the late show. So still a couple of tickets left for that. Wise Guys Comedy Club coming up November 2nd. Carrot Top's going to be up there, and Josh Wolf's going to join me as well. So that's around. Tammy, I think you should go to her website for dates. You can visit Pescatelli.com, Pescatelli.com, and you can find her coming up in Vegas and Cleveland, Ohio as well. Thank you so much, Tammy, for coming out today.
Thank you for having me. You guys are a lot of fun.
And Danny Jolles as well. You Choose. It's available right now in full on YouTube. And until next time, Adam Carolla, Tammy Pescatelli, Danny Jolles, Gina Grad, Mo Bryan saying, Mahala.